Welcome back. Let us continue the discussion on heat and mass transfer. So, what we looked at the binary diffusion coefficient, and from kinetic theory how we can get those coefficients. Now, we will look at some of the application of the mass transfer. For example, we start the application of mass transfer. Let us say we look at this problem of Stefan problem. So, here is an schematic of that particular one. Through top there is a gas flow and that has A and B, and this is at coordinate x 0 and this is L, and there are some other, this is at the interface y A, this is liquid. So, that is the definition of the problem. Now, there are some assumptions which are associated with the Stefan problem. First one is that liquid A in the cylinder maintained at the fixed height. So, that means this is the liquid, that is why this is the boundary condition, at that interface this will be y A. So, within that this is maintained at a fixed height. The whole thing is at steady state, which is very important, because once we assume steady state, then the equations with the ancillary term that disappears. Then concentration of A in the flowing gas is less than A at the liquid vapor interface. So, this is the liquid vapor interface. So, this is the interface. Now, what it says that concentration of A in the flowing gas is less than that at the interface, and B is insoluble in liquid A. Now, one can write the overall conservation of mass, that is m dot x is constant, which is sum of m dot A and m dot B. So, that is your sort of mass conservation, which is one of the basic fundamental principle. Now, since your m dot B is 0, m dot A becomes, which is constant. Okay. Now, we have already seen in the m dot A is y A m dot A minus rho d A B d y A d x. This is already established. Now, if we these two, if you rearrange and separate the variables, so what you do rearrangement and separation of variables. So, what we get m dot A by rho d A B d x d y A by 1 minus y A. So, that is what we get. Now, if we assume rho d A B to be constant, so that is one may assume. If that is constant, then we can integrate this equation. So, we can integrate, and what we get is that m dot A rho d A B x equals to ln 1 minus y A plus C. So, with the boundary condition, so y A at x 0 is y A I. So, using that we can eliminate C. So, use this boundary condition, and then we get that y a x equals to 1 minus y a I exponential x by rho d a b. So, that is what we get. This is by eliminating C, that integration constant, from 4.37. So, that is what you get. Now, the mass flux of A, for that we need one more boundary condition, and that we can put at x equals to 8 is y a infinity. So, once you put this in previous equation, we get m dot A equals to rho d a b by L ln 1 minus y a I, which is 4.40. This is clearly shows you that mass flux is proportional to rho d and inversely proportional to L. So, this is what we get regarding the mass flux. Now, what happens at the liquid vapor interface? So, we need to look at that, because that is an situation where both liquid and vapor they are there. So, one is the saturation pressure. So, P A I would be P saturation of that liquid. Now, we can correlate the partial pressure to mole fraction and mass fraction. So, mass fraction Y A of I would be P saturation pressure at that liquid by P molecular weight of A by molecular weight of the mixture. So, to find out this guy Y A I, we need to know the interface temperature. So, for that we need some boundary condition. Now, in crossing the liquid vapor boundary, so we look at the continuity of the temperature. So, this is temperature of the liquid at x 0 minus would be temperature of the vapor at 0 plus is T 0. So, this is what we get, and also at that point, that means that interface point which we talk about, this is the interface point that we are talking. So, energy is conserved at that interface. So, heat transfer, so this is the situation, this is the interface, this is vapor, this is liquid. So, the heat transfer from the gas to the liquid, that is Q G I, some of these heats the liquid go to liquid and rest will basically use to get the phase change. So, Q G minus Q I L is m dot, it is a difference of vapor enthalpy. So, m dot H F G. So, one can find out that Q dot net is nothing but the change in enthalpy with the mass flow rate at that interface. So, if there are droplet at that interface, how that evaporates. So, this is a droplet where the evaporating droplet, this is in the radial direction, that is this radius of surface radius R s, and this is y a infinity, and this is how y and r will vary. So, there would be some assumption associated with that. First assumption is that the evaporation process is quasi steady, is number 1. Then the droplet temperature is uniform and the temperature is assumed to be some fixed value below the boiling point of the liquid. So, that is another important point. Then the mass fraction of vapor at the droplet interface is determined by liquid vapor equilibrium at the droplet temperature, and also we assume the constant physical properties like rho d, like that. With this assumption, one can find out the evaporation rate. Okay. It will be similar to the Stefan problem except change in coordinate system. So, overall mass conservation will give us m dot r equals to constant equals to 4 pi r square m dot. So, that is my mass conservation. Then the species conservation for droplet vapor, that would be another thing which is equals to y a minus rho d a b dr, which is 4.47. So, these are the, one is the mass conservation, one is the species conservation. Now, we substitute 4.46 into 4.47 and what we get? We solve for m dot and m dot equals to minus 4 pi r square divided by rho d a b 1 minus y a d y a by d r. Now, once you get this, you can always integrate and apply the boundary condition. So, one of the boundary condition is that y at r equals to r s, that is droplet surface y a s, which will get you y a with the r is 1 minus y a s exponential minus m dot by 4 pi rho d a b r divided by exponential minus m dot 4 pi rho d a b r s. So, that is what you get for radial profile of the mass fraction. Now, we can calculate the evaporation rate from equation 4.50 by setting y a equals to y a infinity for r tends to infinity. So, then we can get m dot equals to 4 pi r s rho d a b ln 1 minus y a infinity 1 minus y a s. So, this is 51. So, in this equation one can define the dimensionless transfer number. So, the dimensionless transfer number, which is let us say b y, then 1 plus b y would be 1 minus y a infinity by 1 minus y a s. So, once we define this dimensional number, we actually can write it in a slightly different form, that b y equals to y a s minus y a infinity 1 minus y a s. So, that will lead to calculate the evaporation rate. So, the evaporation rate one can find out, which will get you m dot equals to 4 pi r s rho d a b ln 1 plus b y. Now, droplet mass conservation. So, that is also another thing. So, to look at that, the droplet mass conservation, we get d m d by dt equals to minus m dot. So, that is what you get, where m d is given as rho liquid into volume rho L pi d cube by 6. So, that is 4.55. So, that is what you get, and here d is the diameter and V is the volume. These are for that droplet. Now, once we get this, substitute this 4.55 and 53 into 54 and differentiating, you get d dt by dt minus 4 rho dAb rho L d 1 plus By. So, this is more commonly expressed in term of d square and then d. So, if you take that d t by 2, this will be 8 rho dAb by rho L ln 1 plus By. So, this one will tell us the actually it will tell us the time derivative of the square of the droplet. So, this is commonly used term, and what it tells us that the derivative of the square of the droplet diameter is constant. So, d square vary with t time with a slope that is equal to the right hand side of the this particular equation, and that slope would be essentially the slope is the evaporation constant, which is k. Then the k is 8 rho dAb by rho L 1 plus Py. Now, once you have this, one can find out the droplet evaporation time, and so essentially if you look at the previous expression, so that boils down to d square by dt equals to now minus k. Now, if you integrate this, this would be d naught square to d square equals to minus 0 to k dt, which will get you T d equals to d square by k. And if you change the limits to get more general relationship to provide the general expression for variation of the d. So, this will get you d square with time equals to d naught square minus k t. This is more generic expression, and this is commonly known as referred as this one d2 law for droplet evaporation, which is in two phase flow, which is a very common or very well known equation d2 law, and that is how you get the droplet evaporation, which is varying with that. And what you see here is the d square law for droplet evaporation, and that is the y axis, and this is time, and that is the slope what you get. So, this is well known d2 law that you get. So, that is pretty much all about the heat and mass transfer that we wanted to discuss, and then we will now move to the coupling of chemical kinetics and the thermodynamics. So, the idea of this is that we will now talk about some of the fundamental properties here, like adiabatic flame temperature. So, we talked, but we never seen how we evaluate the adiabatic flame temperature, and then we can have equilibrium composition of the products, that is also an important thing, and then finally, the knowledge of chemical rate processes which is required. So, the whole idea is that how we couple thermodynamics with the chemical rate process, because we have looked at the kinetics, we have looked at the basics of the thermodynamics. Now, we want to couple that thing up. So, we can follow the system temperature and the various species concentration as a function of time, and then we can see how system moves from reactant to products. To do that, we can choose some simple system to deal with, and then finally, the interrelationship among thermodynamics and kinetics and fluid mechanics that can be established. So, that is the whole idea around that we will keep our discussion. Now, to do that, we will consider 4 type of idealized reactors. So, one is the constant pressure fixed mass reactor, that is one thing that we will consider first. So, these are the all simple idealistic situation which we consider to demonstrate the coupling between kinetics and the thermodynamics. Then the constant volume fixed mass reactor, that is the second one that we will choose and continue the discussion. Third one would be well stirred reactor, and the fourth one would be plug flow reactor. So, in this thing, the first 3 here, they are perfectly mixed and homogeneous in composition, and the fourth one, perfect mixedness in radial direction, mixing and diffusion are ignored in the axial direction. So, once we define that system, that will actually tell us how. So, this is the constant fixed mass reactor. Here, as we said, the perfectly mixed and homogeneous reaction. So, T will be function of time, concentration will be function of time, volume is concentration of, because it is a constant pressure system. Now, the second one is the constant volume. So, pressure will vary with time, concentration will vary with time, temperature will vary with time. So, this is also perfectly mixed and homogeneous reaction which will take place here. Third one, well stirred reactor, some reactants comes in, it goes out. So, temperature will be constant, pressure constant and concentration constant. So, it is in steady state, steady flow, perfectly mixed. Okay. And fourth one is the plug flow reactor, where the reactant comes in, there is a control volume where the goes out. So, temperature is a function of direction, concentration is a function of direction, pressure is a function of direction, velocity is like that. So, it is a steady state, steady flow, no axial mixing. So, these are the things. So, now we first start with the constant pressure fixed mass reactor. So, the application of the conservation law. So, it is perfectly mixed. So, this is the schematic of that constant pressure and homogeneous reactor. What it does, that is the reactants react at each and every location within the volume at same time. So, that is what it happens. So, within this, the reactants react at each and every location within the volume. Second, no temperature composition gradient within the mixture, that means within this there will be no temperature gradient or composition gradient. Single temperature and set of species concentration are sufficient to describe the evolution of the system. So, if we take this particular system, the evaluation can be described by single temperature and set of species. And now, the due to reaction, both temperature and volume will increase with time, and there would be heat transfer through the reaction vessels. So, that is also going to be there. Now, the conservation of energy for fixed mass system, if we look at the energy conservation equation. So, which will give you q dot minus w dot equals to m du by dt. Now, q dot is the heat transfer, w dot is the work done. Now, we use the definition of enthalpy U plus P V, and differentiating will give us du by dt, dH by dt minus P dV by dt. So, that is what we get. Now, if we assume the work, so that is an assumption that it is only the P dV work at piston, then W dot by m is P dV by dt. Now, if we put things together, what we get? Q dot by m equals to dH by dt. So, that is what we get. Now, the system enthalpy we can estimate in terms of composition. So, that would be H equals to bar mass, which is summation over all the species Ni Hi by mass. So, you can calculate that these things. Now, we differentiating the previous equation gives you, once we differentiate that, it will give you dH by dt, which is 1 by m, and this is I Hi dNi by dt plus summation over I Ni dHi by dt. So, this is a, so now ideal gas behavior, that is Hi would be function of temperature only. So, what one can write is that dH by dt equals to dt by dt equals to Cpi dt by dt. Now, where Cpi is the molar specific heat at constant pressure. So, this is where we stop today, and we will take it up in the next lecture.